And now we got the recap of the 2024 Iron Bowl. That was, I'll take it. It wasn't the best game, but, I'll take it. A win's better than nothing.
Yeah, and I thought both teams represented themselves. I mean, overall, I thought they represented themselves pretty evenly. I thought Alabama had several chances to kind of take the game away, and it kind of slipped away from them there in the first half, and then in the third quarter. But overall, I think Alabama did what they needed to do. I thought they played well at times. There obviously we'll talk about mistakes that were made. But I think Alabama did exactly what they needed to do. Kind of, I guess I don't want to say dominated the game, but I would say they controlled the game. And Auburn, any chance they had of making a move and trying to get the turn the momentum of the game, I think Alabama kind of stuffed that, goal line, fourth downs and things like that. So I think Alabama, it was obvious Alabama was a better team.
Yeah.
Alabama could have done more, could have capitalized a lot more, had opportunities, and slipped away, that type of scenario. But every time Alabama needed to step up and take control of the game, they were able to do that. So.
Well, something I found was our rushing yards. We really picked up the running game against Auburn. We had 201 rushing yards against them. And what was something we didn't have when we lost to Oklahoma, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, and almost lost to South Carolina? We didn't have a running game in those games.
Exactly. And whenever Milroe's able to run the ball, we win. Whenever they're able to closing down, like we talked last week, I thought Oklahoma shut it down and said, hey, we're going to force this guy to throw the ball, and did that, and good things happened for them. I think Auburn went into the game with that mindset, but I think Alabama learned I saw a couple of changes that they had done during the course of the game, preparation for the game, that is, and was able to counteract anything. If Auburn wanted to force Milroe to throw the ball, I thought Alabama had a game plan and alignment and a blocking scheme that kind of prevented that. And so Milroe runs the ball, we win. You contain Milroe, he's running the show.
Oh yeah,
which is not good. You got to have more than one. You got to have more than one way to skin a cat, right? The old saying.
Yep, it's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah.
So
you look at the stats, pull up the stats here, and we'll take a look at them. And I kind of confused, not confusing, but it's kind of a little eye-opening to me. A couple of things with regard to Auburn.
Here we go. Let's okay. Yeah, we're not gonna play the ad. Get out of there. Get out of there, ad. Yeah, we got a show to do. Breaking the fourth wall, y'all.
Here we go. Yeah, got a little spiral of going nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we've had enough of emu, Doug.
Yeah. Great old internet connections.
Yep. So Milroe had 3 rushing touchdowns, and of course, we don't see passing touchdowns. We were lucky in a way, because that fumble by Ryan Williams almost hurt us.
The early fumble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there was some takeaway. I mean, there were some plays there that obviously we were in good situations to put points on the board, and then mistakes, and then, those type of challenges kind of presented themselves. And so I felt like Alabama probably left 10, 14, 17 points off the board. Ryan Williams early in the game, the fumble there. Oh, is that not? That's a different one. But anyway, so you can see Milroe there with 104. Jam Miller, 84 yards right there. obviously, I saw several instances where Alabama pulled in that 3-3-5, and I knew exactly what was going to happen. Peyton Thorne pulled it down, started running, and got some yardage and got some first downs on that. But overall, statistically, Alabama pretty much led the game. Now, if you look at the total yards, have you got that? Can you pull that up? Total yards, move that, and let's see. It had, I think, Auburn at 300 and something, Alabama. Yeah, team stats, scroll down. Total yards, you can see Auburn at 399, Alabama at 459.
Right.
But, the deal there, you can take 80 yards of that off the board because that was that last drive. The little chump drive there at the end of the game. The game was pretty much over. Auburn, was throwing the ball and all that kind of stuff and drove it down the field. And so they got 80 yards there on just the last drive when time ran out. So you look at that, I think Alabama, you can see, probably dominated the game statistically. Could have had more passing yards. There you go. And you can see 80 yards on the last one. So Alabama pretty much controlled. And you look, to illustrate that, you look down at the bottom, time of possession, Alabama 36, Auburn 23. And so the total yards there, you got some chunk yards there at the end of the game. So I think it should have been around 459, maybe 320, but Alabama's playing, prevent defense. But you look up there, and here's something scary for Auburn. I mean, this is Auburn's fourth consecutive losing season. I mean, when's the last time you saw that for Auburn? I mean, that is next year. I mean, Hugh's going to have to pull something out next year, or he's gone. But 4 consecutive losing season. That is it's kind of what Alabama was back in the the days after Stallings, when we were in kind of purgatory trying to figure things out and all that kind of stuff. So Auburn's right there, and I know they're talking a lot with regard to how great the new recruiting class is going to be. Blah blah blah. I don't care about that. I don't care about high school freshmen. I've told you all along, if you're going to build a team, you're going to have to build it with the portal. And so you can have a top 5 high school recruiting class, blah, 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 not going to get you anywhere. What's the portal transfer scenario? Because that's where they're going to find their quarterback. Who's going to start at quarterback for Auburn next year is, not on the team probably right now.
Oh, so, man, they get Miller Moss.
That's interesting. So I thought the game stats kind of take away the last drive. Alabama controlled the game. You looked. I didn't point out the third down conversion rate. Auburn was like 4 for 13, 14, something like that. So Alabama pretty much controlled the game. I know Auburn fans are going to argue about that. We had a couple of good drives, but in the end, Alabama stepped up and shut it down. So. Alabama, I'm not going to say dominated the game, but it was pretty sad. After start of the third quarter, Alabama, takes a good, started taking control of the game, kind of, let it sneak away. And then, of course, the refs, that scoring drive, if I remember the right one, that call over there on the sideline, that was offsetting penalties. They called 2 penalties on Alabama, gave Auburn a first down, kept the drive alive and all that kind of stuff. But obviously that wasn't the call. I don't know I really haven't been able to find. I know there's one out there and somebody will post it and we'll see it. Really a definitive video that illustrates what took place over there on that sideline. But it seems like Malachi wound up getting a penalty from it. I know number 8, Smith, Devontae, I think he wound up getting those 2 guys. But Auburn was involved just as much as Alabama. So that should have been offsetting penalties. So kept the drive alive. And I don't know. Refereeing is, I don't know what they're thinking sometimes.
Oh, a lot of people have not been too happy with the refs all season this year. It's been sloppy. And our buddy Willing D says that Pat Dye is rolling through the grave. Oh, yeah. He's not happy, I'm sure.
4 consecutive. Now, Alabama, I don't know if they've had 4. It's been a long time, but I know Alabama went through the issues in the late '90s and the DeBose and all that. Now I know in the early 2000s, Alabama had okay records in the early 2000s with Shula, but they called the program a lot. I don't know what was going on there with the athletic director in the program and improper benefits, not only football but other parts of the program, and they took forfeited wins and stuff like that. And it looks like they had a losing season and records, but they did. But 4 in a row for Auburn that's pretty troubling. If I'm an Auburn fan, you cannot be happy. And I don't think even after this season I see the light at the end of the tunnel for them. Everybody wants to lamb it up, but I don't see it. I don't see it.
True. But this is our longest winning streak since 1973 to 1981 against Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
We've now got a 5-game winning streak. We haven't lost to them since 2019, so that's pretty good.
Pretty good. That's pretty good for DeBoer to come in. I know we've had issues and people have complained, but I heard him talk during the game. I think is he the first coach to first season win 9 more games?
He's the 6th coach in the history of the Iron Bowl to lead his team to victory in his coaching in his first ever Iron Bowl. The first one was Harold Redrew in 1948, where we thrashed Auburn in a 41-year reunion, 55-0 in 1948. Gene Stallings led Alabama to victory against Auburn in 1990 and ended up.
That game.
Yep.
That's one we talked last week. Elena, my wife, and I wound up on the field after the game.
Terry Bowden in 1993, Dennis Franchione in 2001, and Gus Malzahn in 2013 for, that game we won't talk about.
Well, I'll tell you what, for DeBoer to come in his first year, and we're all scratching our head on the Oklahoma and the Vanderbilt, that kind of stuff. But he's won 9 games. And if he wins, if he gets in the playoffs or if he doesn't and wins a bowl game, first season, win 10 games, that's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he inherited some good players, don't get me wrong. it wasn't like Saban when Saban came in, and he had nothing and had to build and was able to pull a great first season off. But yeah, for DeBoer to come in, it could be a lot better. But you can't 9 wins.
Yeah.
And Auburn.
Yeah. That's a plus.
Huh?
Yeah. So we got something. We still got that winning streak over Auburn. Okay. And, Will was talking about Alabama bottomed out before they got Bear Bryant from 1954 to 57. Yes, that was the last year of the Red Drew era and the J.B. Whitworth era. You want to talk about god-awful era, the Whitworth era. That was a failure to communicate right there. And Will Indy also says, give DeBoer 2 more years. Once he gets his own players, they will be title challengers all over again.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I don't think we really know yet because the full extent and the full measure of the portal has not. We really don't know how to calculate and how to evaluate, and I don't even think coaches know how to manipulate the portal. And then every year you're bringing in. It used to be every year you're bringing in, maybe 1 transfer, maybe 2, and then freshmen. And you really didn't expect too many freshmen to be able to play. But now you're you're losing players, you're bringing in players, then you got freshmen. So the full extent as to how the portal affects, traditional winning programs is unknown. We won't have enough data probably for 3 or 4 or 5 more years.
Yeah.